So when it comes to laptops that run Windows, there is logistically too many different models. We can't test them all, but we'll give some guidelines. So what you want to look for is, does it have Thunderbolt 3? So Thunderbolt 3 usually looks like kind of like this. It's a USB-C type of connector, but it's going to specifically have a certain type of chip in the board that's going to process the data a little differently. Now, these USB-C things are tricky. Sometimes you're going to get one and it's a on the package it'll say it's a charging cable. It looks the same as everything else, but when you try
Yeah.
to, like plug in a hard disk or something, then it's like, hey, why is this not happening? Some are made so that only power goes through and no data. Some have, USB 3, USB-C 3.
Hmm.
There's so many standards, I can't even go through them, but
There's so many. Yep.
they look the same as these USB-C ports. The what the kind of plug you get at the bottom of your iPad, right? And also on the side of all the new Macs. But we need something called Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4. So
Hmm.
what you want to do is just Google the name of your laptop, and right next to it, Google Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4, and see if that laptop features that particular technology. So let's pull up a laptop here and just Google it and see if it's going to support the GoBox.
All right. So what I've done is I've typed in Thunderbolt 3 Windows laptop, so to give us a wider range of array of different computers that have that same technology. Now, anything within Windows CPU 12th or 11th generation CPU should do the job. But again, your mileage may vary depending on how much RAM you have. For example, this one has 8 gigabytes of memory, 128 gigabyte SSD, and it's only for $250.
So, there's actually a good chance that will work,
Mhm.
especially if you're using something like StreamYard, which is a low bandwidth type of system. But generally, we're going to recommend it's got to be Thunderbolt 3 compatible. Thunderbolt 4 is also compatible. It's got to have that Thunderbolt 3 port on the left side of the computer, because
Yep.
that's where the cable comes in from. And the nature of Thunderbolt 3 is there's actually a limitation on how long the cable can be
Hmm.
until it doesn't work. So it's long enough so that it's going to reach the left side of the laptop. All right. So if you
Yep.
got Thunderbolt 3 port on the left side of the laptop, then you shouldn't have any problems. As far as CPU and RAM goes, what do you recommend, Junaid? What's our official recommendation on this?
So I like to err on the side of a much more powerful CPU. For example, the i7 or the i5, depending on which generation it is. Again, depending on which system you already have, whenever you're using it, and if you've used StreamYard with your computer already and you have had no problems at all, you should be pretty much good to go.
Okay. If you use StreamYard, then you should be good to go. And you have Thunderbolt 3 or Thunderbolt 4 on the
Thunderbolt
left
3.
side of your laptop.
And that's specifically important because that's how we're bringing in the high quality camera, cinematic camera feed into your computer through that Thunderbolt.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So I wish there was a clear answer we could give and there was a way we could list every single laptop out there. There just isn't. So the guidelines are Thunderbolt 3, plug on the left side of the laptop. We're looking for 16 gigabyte RAM recommended.
Hmm.
And as far as CPU goes, Intel i5 or i7. Now, besides Intel, there are some other CPU makers out there, aren't there? What else
Hmm.
do we have that we can look at?
So we have the AMD chips that makes the Ryzen CPUs, and those are pretty powerful CPUs on Windows laptops, so they should do really well as well.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have a more detailed, recommended specs for the laptop that you use. And with a GoBox, here's what I recommend is the GoBox is something that will outlast your laptops because
That's so
it's
true.
we put technology in there that's not going to get dated. Now, will there be newer camera models that come out? Of course. Will there be newer, Stream Deck and microphones that come out? Of course. But that's not going to make the quality of your audio go down. It's not going to make the
Hmm.
quality of your video go down. But as you upgrade your laptops, then this piece of hardware, the Goboxstudio, will go with you from laptop to laptop. But the laptop itself is the more disposable component between the great glass you have in your camera, the great audio, the touch button switching system, and everything. So that's really
Yeah,
what you want to do is think about what laptop is going to work with Goboxstudio versus will the Goboxstudio work with my laptop.
100%. Excellent. I love it.
All
Thank you
right.
so
Well,
much.
that's it. We will be building out a list of stuff that we actually test. And until then, please check back and we'll have a link below this video with more details on specific specs.